Well, Lisa, thank you so much. I hope everybody can hear me okay. As Lisa said, my name is Len Tau. Everybody calls me Len. So when you refer to me, I prefer Len, not Dr. Tau, not Leonard. Len is perfect. I am a proud member of Catapult. If you are looking for a great speaker, always remember to reach out to Catapult. We have a number of them on a lot of different topics, from marketing to clinical. So you're a group that you want to reach out to. I am a dentist. I no longer practice. I also run the dental division for Bird Eye, but I'm an educator. So this is not, even though it's sponsored by Bird Eye, it's not a sales pitch about Bird Eye. For the 55 minutes or so that we're going to be together, I talk about Bird Eye for just a couple of minutes. Feel free to ask questions. I will answer them at the end. So put them into the Q&A and I will cover them, as we end the recording. So it's Webinar Wednesday, as I like to call it. I do webinars a lot on Wednesday, and I'm excited to have this opportunity to present raving patients, getting credible, getting visible, get more new patients to the practice. So to begin with, I always like to start off my seminars and webinars with this quote: "Education without action is just entertainment." I will thoroughly entertain you for the next 55 or so minutes, but without taking action, it's just entertainment. Okay. I want you to take action. I want you to get really great results from what I teach you. So please remember that. And in addition, screenshots, photography, you are encouraged to take it. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions regarding any of the slides in there. So it is encouraged to take screenshots. So marketing has changed forever. It used to be as seen on TV. And for those that have been to the as seen on TV store, those products are successful, but they're not very good. And they're successful because of the marketing. The marketing determines their business success. Versus today, as seen on the internet, where your patients determine your business success. So marketing has changed. Now, the old marketing playbook is broken. 86% of people skip TV ads, and I'm one of them. The only live TV I watch is sports. I don't watch any other live TV. Everything is on recording, so I can skip through those ads. So if you are doing any type of TV marketing, you have to remember that a lot of times they're skipping through those shows or those ads to get back to the shows. I call this interruption marketing. They're interrupting what you're enjoying doing. Okay. 91% unsubscribe to email. You want to stop sending emails to your patients. 44% of direct mail is never open. Very few people are successful doing direct mail. Again, 44% is never opened, and there's 200 million people on the do not call list. This is marketing today. It's online, where 93% of people search for a business online. 90% choose a business on page 1 of Google. 75% never scroll past page 1. And there's a 500% growth in near me online searches for businesses every single year. Dentist near me, dentist in your zip code, cosmetic dentist, implants near me, all of those different terms. So marketing today is your current patients talking to your future patients. Now, I'm a marketing guy. I guess I'm a review guy. Everybody calls me the review doctor, but I'm a marketing guy. I love marketing. I love helping practice market. So marketing is an investment, not an expense. It's something you have to do to be successful and to increase your revenue. It's not a nice to have frill when you can afford to do it. So you have to market whether you can afford to or not. What I'm going to be talking about you today is something referred to as foundational marketing. Okay, it's what you have to do in order to be able to market. So if you're not doing the things I talk about, you are probably wasting your money, or the return on investment on the marketing you're getting is not as strong as it could be. So this is where you should be starting. It's the foundation. So I actually retired in 2022, December. I no longer practice. I now live in Florida. I practiced in Philadelphia for 23 years. I was the owner of the Pennsylvania Center for Dental Excellence for 15 of them. In 2007, I bought this practice from a dentist who had committed suicide, unfortunately. And the doctors, any of my colleagues were very envious that I was able to get this practice because it had all the great bones. It was a fee-for-service practice. It did about $1.2 million. And everybody loved my location. Now, my location was on a very, very busy intersection, and cars would stop by. A lot of people would come in because of my sign, because they were staring at it almost every day when they were in traffic. I reached out for assistance from a lot of the gurus out there, people I met on Dental Town. Facebook wasn't the thing back then for Facebook groups. And all the gurus wanted me to do this type of marketing. They wanted me to do yellow pages and they wanted me to do billboards. And this was not the location I wanted to be in. I knew back then that I need to be on page 1 of Google. And this is what a Google search looked like back then. Okay. There were 7 dentists on page 1 of Google, A through G. And if you weren't there and you wanted to be there, you can pay for an ad. You can still do that. It's Google AdWords. And this is the way you became visible online. But this is not what Google looks like anymore. Okay. Google looks like this, where there are 3 dentists on page 1. And if you want to pay, there will be a 4th one. So this is your visibility. If you are not here in this map ranking, when someone does a search for dentist in your town, dentist in your zip code, this dentist near me, this is visibility. So what you can do when you have time is go onto your computer, go into incognito browsing mode or private browsing mode, and search for a dentist and see where you rank. Do not do it on your phone. Do not do it on a browser you're logged into, because you will probably come up at the top. But in most cases, you're not literally there for people searching for you. Google knows who you are and they give you preferential treatment. So you want to go into an incognito browsing mode, because a lot of times you're not going to be at the top of the maps. But this is visibility. And we're going to talk about how to get more visible during the webinar. This is a new term I want to introduce many of you to. It's the value of social proof. McDonald's hamburgers, over 19 billion served and growing. Okay. People stop at McDonald's because they see this sign, 19 billion people have eaten it. Okay. McDonald's food is not good. It's fast and it's cheap. But people stop there because they see this sign about 19 billion served. Well, the same note here, 4,318 positive patient 5-star reviews. People stop when they see this type of billboard on your website. They go, wow, that's a lot of patients giving 5 stars. So this is the value of what social proof is, a new term that I want to introduce you to. Social proof is defined as the tendency to see an action is more appropriate when others are doing it. And it was coined by a guy named Robert Cialdini, who wrote the book, The Psychology of Persuasion, also called Influence. So I highly recommend that you read this book. This is a really great book that talks about this concept of social proof. Now, consumers trust social proof reviews 12 times more than manufacturer descriptions. And here's the reason why. Ads versus reality. When you go to a fast food restaurant, the food that they give you never looks like the food in the ads. Okay, that's a problem. And I know many dentists, unfortunately, that don't even use their real photos on their website. They use stock photos or they use a competitor's photo. You have to use realistic photos to give the patients what they're going to be expecting when they come in the office. So accept this hard truth that no one cares about your marketing team has to say about your dental practice. They care what your patients have to say. So this is your happy patients. And this is your sales and marketing team. And you have this advantage that you have these empowered patients that want to talk about you online, but you have to give them the ability to do that. Because it creates this word. It creates trust with your patients. And when patients trust you, what do? Well, they buy from you, they refer patients to you, and they come back for more every 6 months. So if they trust you, they will come back and spend more money and refer their friends and family to you. Now, it also creates credibility, and you need to be a credible practice, not only from the patient's perspective, but from Google's perspective, as we'll get into in a little bit. But please don't confuse visibility with credibility. You need both of these. If you're a visible practice and not credible, that's a problem. But if you're credible and not visible, that's also a problem. You need both of these things. So I want you to work on creating raving fans, or I call them raving patients. And Raving Patients is my brand online. I have a Facebook group called Raving Patients. I have a podcast called Raving Patients. Here's my book called Raving Patients. You'll be able to get a copy of that a little bit later in the session. But this is what you want to do. You want to create these raving patients. And how do you do that? Well, you do these 3 things. You exceed the patient expectation, you go the extra mile, and you underpromise and overdeliver. And if you do these 3 things, you will create that raving patient. but you'll also avoid that dreaded one-star review, which we'll get into later in the session. So where we're focused today is something that I coined back in 2012 called reputation marketing. It's generating 5-star reviews and marketing it to get more new patients coming in the practice. Now, you may hear companies refer to it as reputation management. Reputation management is a very old school term. It's getting negative reviews off the first page of Google. And that's what now we're talking about here. We're using the power of your happy patients to get you ranked higher and bring in more new patients to the practice. Now, as I mentioned, I was a practice owner for 15 years. The last 10 years, I know that 1,625 patients chose my office because of my online reputation. Why or how? Because I asked every single one of them when they came in, what made them come into my practice, and I kept really good records. Okay, this is a huge, inexpensive way to get patients coming into your practice. And here's what one of those patients said.
So I saw that you found me on Google.
Yes.
Okay, what did you search for?
The top 10 doctors in Philadelphia area.
And obviously you found a list of top 10.
Yes, you did.
But why did you pick my office?
Because you had 93 Google reviews.
And that made me stand out from everybody else.
Exactly.
And did you read them or you check them out?
I was satisfied with the 93.
With the 93 reviews?
4.7 stars worth of Google reviews you had.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, this was a very old video, but it proves a point that patients want to see those stars. They want to see the reviews. They're not necessarily going to read every single review, but that's why patients come in the office. So as Warren Buffett says, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you do things differently. And in the case of the internet, you can lose your reputation in a nanosecond. And the reason that is because everyone is a publisher. Everyone has an Android or an iPhone or a tablet, and they could be sitting in your waiting room and you're running late and they can write a bad review about you. I've even seen it where people have taken pictures of their patients writing a bad review while sitting in the chair. Everybody's a publisher. So reviews drive business. A great reputation equals more money. And there's no such thing as a reputation repair kit. It's very difficult to repair a damaged reputation. It can be done. It may take a long time, but you want to get off on the good foot, not on a bad foot. So why is having a great online reputation so important? Well, number one is because patients are reading them. So this is an example. Shout out to people who rate and review things, because I don't like to rate or review things, but I like to know how things are rated and reviewed. So he doesn't like to write reviews, but he likes to read the reviews. And we are a reputation society nowadays. Every single thing we do has some form of reputation around it. When you go to the movies, you go online or you look at Roger Ebert, Siskel and Ebert. You go to a restaurant, you look at Yelp. You go to Amazon, you buy a 5-star rated product. You don't buy a 1-star rated product. Okay. Every single thing we do when it comes to reputation is look at those reviews. If you are marketing your practice, there's various forms of marketing, but whatever you're doing, if you don't have reviews, in my opinion, the return on investment is going to suffer. So if you're doing paid search, so paid search, we call Google AdWords. If you're doing organic search, we call that search engine optimization or SEO. If you're doing any type of display advertising or any type of social media, if you don't have reviews, the results will suffer and the ROI will be significantly worse. So the reputation enhances the performance of all the money you're spending online. Please keep that in mind. I want to share with you some data from 2 surveys. This was the local consumer review survey in 2022 and 2023 done by a company called Bright Local. And they interviewed about 30,000 consumers every single year, and they've been doing this for 10 or 12 years. And I love seeing this data. The data comes out in January of the new year. The results were from a survey in December of the previous year. So here it is, the first one. What type of business type have you read online reviews for? And third is dentists and doctors. And in the 35 to 54-year-old and the 55, it's third and second, respectively. When browsing for a local business, how often do you read their online reviews? Well, 98% of people at least occasionally read online reviews when searching for a local business. That's almost every single one of them. How often have you used the internet to find information about a local business? Again, 98% of consumers use the internet to find information about a local business? Almost everyone. Which sites have you looked at to evaluate businesses in the last 12 months? Google by far is number one, 87%. How important a role does online reviews play in your decision to use them in the following industries? Healthcare, 53% say they're very important. What is the minimum average star rating a business must have for you to consider using them? It's nowhere near 5 stars. You do not need to be a perfect business. What I think is a perfect score is somewhere between 4.6 and 4.9. If you have a ton of reviews and you're ranked at 5 stars, there's something to question there. So you do not want to have only 5-star reviews. You do not look credible then. Which market-leading review platform would you most likely use or trust these industries? Healthcare, 66% look at Google. Yelp is only 9% for those wondering. Now, we're in reading a review. What do you pay most attention to? The average star rating of the business, how recent the review is, and the number of reviews for the business are the top 3. Now, 60% won't consider a business with less than 4 stars. Now, what does that mean? If you go online and you have 3.7 stars, I can tell you, you are definitely losing business to people who are referred to you. When people are referred, they want to see that you look great online, or they're not going to come in. And guess what? They don't call you up and say, I'm not coming in because you suck online. They just don't come in. So you don't even know what you're losing if you don't have a good reputation online. Now, how recent does a review have to be? 69% think reviews older than 3 months are no longer relevant, or they're irrelevant. And 40% want them within the previous 2 weeks. So they want fresh, current reviews from your patients. And for which of these local business types does reputation matter the most when choosing a business? It's second, medical and healthcare, which is what dental falls under, is 45%. Now, if there are any specialists listed, after being referred to business, what do you do next? And 87% search for a business online, and 52% of the time they're looking for online reviews and ratings. And I'll share a brief story with you. So I was your traditional general dentist. I referred a lot of procedures out. I referred to a periodontist, oral surgeon, an orthodontist, a periodontist, you name it, an endodontist. My oral surgeon used Bird Eye, has over 1,400 5-star reviews. My periodontist also uses Bird Eye, 200 and almost 350 reviews now. My orthodontist did not use Bird Eye, but had 300 5-star reviews. The endodontist I referred to has 3.7 stars and 37 reviews. And more than 50% of the time, when I referred business to him, the patient would come back asking me for someone else because they didn't like what he looked like online. So if you're a specialist and you don't have the best reputation, you may be losing business, just so you know. You also have to be proactive. You cannot be reactive. Okay, you have to plan for issues that may occur. You have to generate reviews, because for every bad review you get, it takes 10 to 15 to overcome that bad review. So as we move through the program today, we're going to be talking about 3 things: getting found, which I call visibility; getting found in a compelling way, which I call credibility; and then dealing with negative reviews is a 3rd section. So that's the agenda for today. So how can you become more visible? So this is referred to as something as evaluating and claiming your local listings, which are called citations. So what is a citation? It's a mention of your business name, address, and phone number. It's called your NAP on local directories that Google look at for trust. Now, here's the thing. As I mentioned, Google looks at these for trust, and they're usually acquired through a registration process. But nowadays, a lot of these sites crop up on their own, and you don't have to claim the listings. But the information on these sites have to be consistent with other information online, or Google actually penalizes you. So practices call me all the time and say, hey, Len, I have so many more reviews than my next door neighbor, but they're ranking higher than me. Is there a reason for that? And many times it's because their citations are not consistent. Okay? So it's like giving someone a business card with the wrong information on it, which you would never do. So this is the old ecosystem. You do not have to take a screenshot of this. This is old. It's very easy to see here that all of these sites talk to each other. but they also all talk to Google. Now, this is what the current ecosystem looks like. So there are 4 primary data aggregators. They all connect with each other, and they all talk to the core primary search engines, Google, Apple Maps, and Bing. So this is really what we're dealing with now. So you have to be in that circle of trust, as we like to say. If you're not in a circle of trust, you're not ranking. So there are some rules that you have to follow. So the business name, address, and phone number, called your NAP, has to be exactly the same for Google to recognize it and basically give you 2 thumbs up. So consider this: street or ST. I'm in Florida or FL. Do you have a suite number? Is it suite or STE or number sign? The and or the an or Inc. or incorporated. These all have to be consistent. So what I want you to do, and you can do this on your own time, you can take a scan of this. This is a bird eye scan. Unfortunately, you're not going to be bombarded with them. This comes back to me only, and I won't bother you. But you can do your scan here, and you can put your business name into this product. And it's going to give you an overall score. It's also going to give you a ranking score, a reputation score, and more importantly, for me, a listing score. And you want that listing score to be as high as possible. You want it to be as close to 100%. Okay. The lower you are, the worse off you are. And the lower you're probably ranking on the maps. So there's definitely a definite consistency here between having lots of reviews, having a good online presence, and ranking high. If you don't have a great online listing score, you may not be ranking at the top of their maps in your town, and this is a reason why. So who's going to be most affected by this listing problem? If you recently bought a practice from somebody in the last 5 years, if you started a practice in the last 5 years, or you moved your practice in the last 5 years, those are people that are going to end up with inconsistent information many times. And again, you are going to struggle, in my opinion, with ranking. So do me a favor, scan your business. It will send me an email when you do. I'm not going to be reaching out to you, so you don't have to worry about that. But this is what you need to do. It's going to give you a report. And then if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me about what the report shows. So how do you claim all of these sites? Okay, you don't. This is not a do-it-yourself job. You have to use a service to do this. So from a service perspective, the most common one you may have heard of is a company called Yext, Y-E-X-T. The problem with Yext is if you stop using them, it reverts back to the way it was before you started using Yext. So that's a problem in my mind because you're paying for something and as soon as you stop, it goes away. Bird Eye does this as part of what we do, just so you know. But just be aware, this is a very important part of local SEO, local search engine optimization. Now, why do you need to be more visible? Well, 25% of the clicks happen from position 1, 13 from position 2, and 10 from position 3. Anything else, you have less than 2% chance of getting clicked on. That's why you need to be at the top of those maps. So the NAP, the NAP, the consistency is the key to ranking as high as possible when someone's searching for you. So in my opinion, as I mentioned a while back, you want to stop your marketing spend until you have a steady flow of reviews because you're wasting your money. If you don't have the reviews as the foundation and you're spending a lot of money on marketing, the return on investment is definitely going to suffer. So how can you become more credible? So how do you generate more reviews? Well, patient reviews are now one of the biggest factors in local search results. And these are some of the rules that Google has kind of stated. You want them at a regular velocity. So that's what we call some regularity, is 1 to 2 every single week at the minimum. If you think about that, you get 4 to 8 every single month. If you get 8, you're getting almost 100 over every single year. That's the minimum number that you want. If it's obviously if you're getting them 1 to 2 a week, you'll have recent reviews, but you definitely, according to the stats, want them within the last 2 weeks. And you want a rating, as I mentioned, from 4.5 to 4.9 stars. Now, Google has recently said that if you get a photo added to your review, so if the patient leaves a review and puts a photo in here, those reviews are considered more relevant and will show up at the top when someone looks for your reviews. So this is actually what it looks like when someone goes to write a review for you. They see their name, you're posting publicly. There's the stars, and it says share details of your experience. And there is a button to click on add photos, and they can add photos from their phone very easily. So if you can get your patients to add photos to the review, it certainly makes it a lot better. So I think we all know that you must collect reviews from your happy patients. Well, the first thing I want you to change is I don't want you to ask for a review. I want you to ask for feedback about the patient's experience. It changes the conversation when you have it with the patient. It's not uncomfortable for your team to ask for feedback. It may be uncomfortable for them to ask for a review. So the conversation would go something like this. Someone comes up to the front desk. You say to them, we hope you had this great experience. We would love to get some feedback about your experience. And we're going to send you, or you will be receiving a communication, whether it's a text message of some sort, email, but we will be sending you a message that helps you put some feedback online about your experience. One more thing you can add, which works really well, and I don't care if it's not true because we all don't do it, but if you mention to the patient that you have a morning huddle every morning where you celebrate your 5-star reviews and you would love to celebrate theirs, there's a huge percentage of people who do it after you mention that. So that's a really big tip to increase the effectiveness of what you're sending the patients. So again, don't ask for a review. I want you to ask for feedback about the patient's experience. So let's talk about some of the ineffective ways of generating reviews. Okay. So the first and most ineffective way is simply asking your patients. You can ask your patients till the cows come home to write a review online. And I will tell you, if you ask 100 patients, 95 are going to say yes, and 3 to 5 do it. After you ask a couple hundred, you are probably going to get frustrated. And you can't incentivize them to writing a review. So that doesn't help. Okay. So asking is ineffective. QR codes are back in style, but I will tell you that using QR codes will dry up after a while. They're very effective, but after a while, Google will see they're coming from the same link, because that's what a QR code is just a link to something, and Google starts taking them down after a while, just so you know. This card's really funny. It says, review us on Google, log into your Google account from a computer connected to the internet. Like, you actually have to tell them to go to the internet to write a review. And actually that link there is blue and you can click on it. Obviously it's a piece of paper, so that doesn't work, but that's an ineffective way. And then there are lots of software programs out there. I've actually used each one of these in my practice. They are vital communication software. They're vital to run a practice. And there's a lot in this space. Specifically for these products, they all have microsites. RevenueWell has the Patient Connect site. DemandForce has the DemandForce page. SolutionReach had the Smile Reminder. Now it's called SolutionReach. And Lighthouse has RateMD. WebMD used to be Rate a Business. Most of the reviews, not all of them, but most of them end up internal. Okay, I just met a dentist who had 38 Google reviews and 1,800 on DemandForce. That's not working out for you. So you have to be using a software product that actually will generate reviews on Google for you, not stuck in the system where you're bound to stay with them or you lose those reviews. So these are all important products, but not for review generation, just so you know. So I've traveled the US for about 15 years now. I'm on the road about 40 weeks out of the year. I'm leaving tomorrow for Austin, Texas, as an example. But when I go into offices to do consulting, I talk to patients. And I've interviewed well over 1,200 patients now. And I've asked them the reasons why the patients don't write Google reviews. And I would say there are 10 most common answers. There's 8 plus the one I'm going to share with you, plus a 9th one, plus a 10th one. That's by far and away the most reasons why patients don't leave Google reviews. So the top 9 would be they don't have time, they forget, there's too many steps, out of sight, out of mind, they don't know what to write, they don't know how to do it, they don't have a Google account. And to be very clear, in order to write a Google review, you have to have a Gmail account or a Google account. If you don't, they can't do it. But I will tell you that about 85% of the US population have a Gmail or Google account. So most of your patients are able to do this. They're not asked to write a review. If you don't ask, you don't get. And another answer would be they don't care. So that's been a more common recent answer. So those 9, okay, are not the answer to the number one reason, which is about 60% of the answers. And that answer is that your patients don't know their Google password or their Gmail password. And if they don't remember their password, they can't write a Google review for you. So please keep that in mind. So I mentioned at the very beginning that I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes talking about what BirdEye can do for your business. So we are a mobile-based technology. We send mostly text messages, or we really send emails as well, but the text message open rate is significantly higher than the email open rate. So 98% of text messages are opened, and 84% of text messages are open in 1 to 3 minutes. Now, these are patients of mine, okay? Patients of mine who had 94,000 unread emails and 113,000 unread emails. So this is a reason why patients should not be sent emails anymore, because they simply don't open them up. Now, when I give live seminars, not webinars, but seminars, I always ask my audience to see who has an insane number of unread emails in this case, okay? And people yell out their answers, and there's usually someone in the room with at least 200,000. But I've been doing this for a really long time. And about 3 years ago, this was a dentist from Las Vegas who had 636,000 unread emails. This gives me hives just thinking about it, because I'm always at inbox zero. So we are an integrated platform. We integrate with 98% of the practice management softwares out there, most cloud-based platforms. You can always send me a message and ask me if we integrate with yours, but there's very few of them that we do not integrate with or can't work with. And what we do is we send a message at the end of the day to the patient via text asking for feedback about the experience. And the example is number 1. We ask for feedback. We automatically send the message. We also limit a number of different ways, just so you know. We only send 1 review request within a 30-day period. We only send to 1 family member if multiples come in. And if you or your team think the patient may have had a bad experience, you can turn them off so they do not get a review request. So you have complete control. Okay. Now, when they get the message and click on it, that's what the message says. And this is fully customizable. We hope your experience exceeded your expectations and that you want to write a positive review. However, if we haven't provided or earned your 5-star experience or 5-star review, please contact us directly by clicking the red button below. So we have this filter where green is good and red is bad. Green goes to one of the review sites and red goes directly back to the practice as feedback. Now, just so you know, BirdEye is in over 10,000 dental practices in the US and Canada, and we know that 98.2% of the time, if a patient has a problem, they hit the red button. Now, when they hit the red button, we apologize. Please tell us how we can improve. And whatever is written here is emailed back to the office. It doesn't go online. Now, Androids and iPhones, we are able to differentiate between each one. Now, for Android phone users, I don't know how many of you know, but Android phone users must have a Google account or the phone won't operate. So as you can see, we only give them Google as a choice. Why? Because it's easier. So Android is Google only. iPhones are the ones that get Google and Facebook. Why? 1, not all iPhone users have a Gmail account, and those that do don't tell you they have Gmail. Now, I already told you what the number 1 reason why patients don't write reviews is they don't remember their Google password. And that's where BirdEye steps in. So I'm going to show you this very quick video that will kind of explain to you really what BirdEye does. So the patients click the link. They click on Google. We scan the phone and automatically log them into their Google account. So it is strictly a 1-step process to write the review. They write the review. They hit done and post. And within a minute or 2, you're notified by Google that you've gotten a new review. And it's that simple. This is the reason why people use BirdEye, because we make it easy for you to generate these reviews. Now, I always show this because this is really funny. This was sent to me by a client in Toronto. How to quickly and easy write a Google review. Well, what we do is really easy. That's not 14 steps is not quick and not easy, just so you know the difference. So switching gears, the last section in about 18 or 20 minutes that we have left is how to deal with negative reviews. And that's a very big topic of conversation nowadays because we're really caring about our reputation and we don't want to look like we have negative feedback coming into the practice. It's bound to happen. If you haven't gotten a negative review in your entire career, I question what's going on. Everybody leaves dental practices. We are never perfect with our business. So you should all have negative reviews. You just want to temper them down, basically. So what do you do when you get a negative review? Well, are you this extreme where you're putting your head in the sand and ignore it? Or are you this extreme where a dentist sued 4 patients for leaving negative Yelp reviews? Okay, those are the extremes. I want you to be somewhere in the middle. So we don't live in a world of 5-star experiences, so accept that not all reviews are going to be 5 stars. But there's been this buzz about negative reviews, and people have marketed their negative reviews to great success. I want you to embrace your reviews. I want you to understand that you're going to get them. I want you to learn from the reviews and just do a better job of treating your patients. That's the ultimate goal of what I want you to do. But if you want to really take marketing to the next level, you do things a little bit differently when it comes to this, like this. So this is about 10 years old now, and it says, come in and try the worst meatball sandwich that one guy on a Yelp ever had in his life. This was amazing back then. This was, like I said, about 10 years ago, and this made national news. So you take a negative and make it a positive. Now, when you see something successful, you will try to emulate it. So Johnson's Barbecue has this one. Remember, it's barbecue. It says no vegan food here. Okay? Obviously, it's a barbecue place. So these are just examples of restaurants who've taken it to the next level. This is actually a cool little video. This is a very short video. It's from Facebook. It's a Facebook ad about this product. And you'll watch this.
This is not hot oatmeal. Very misleading. 1 star. It looks great, but I cannot enjoy drinking my breakfast. Thank you very much. It's too chocolate. It's like eating cardboard, but with more steps. Over 1 million happy customers disagree, but thanks, Victoria. We'll take that into consideration.
Brilliant marketing, and they're busier than ever. So they're really promoting their negative reviews. Check out this business. It was called the Botto Italian Bistro, and they disagreed with Yelp's policies, and they wanted to be the worst rated restaurant on Yelp. So they have 1,203 reviews and 1 star, and they actually gave 50% off to anyone who gave them a 1-star review on Yelp. So they are busier than ever, but they're rated 1 star. Again, brilliant marketing here. I don't know how many of you have been to Snowbird. Snowbird is a ski resort in Utah. Well, they've created this 1-star campaign, which highlights their 1-star reviews. To advance, I've heard snowboard is a tough mountain, but this is ridiculous. It felt like every trail was a steep chute or littered with tree wells. How is anyone supposed to ride in that? Not fun. Example, too advanced, disappointed, no easy runs. So this marketing campaign is still talked about this day and age, how you want to focus on positives, but you can have fun with your negatives. And again, what do you do when you're successful? People emulate it, which is this one here. My wife hated it. Beautiful beaches, amazing food, and great culture. Beautiful women everywhere in the tiniest bikinis. And apparently my wife doesn't like that. Again, brilliant marketing. I love when I see things like that. So this was a bad review I received. This is going on over 10 years ago. This was a true, real patient. But what she wrote wasn't truthful. And she wrote, I went to Dr. Tau as a new patient. I did not have a good experience. He seems very money hungry. He told me I needed all this work done when I did not. He said I needed all my fillings replaced because they can cause my children to be born with disabilities. I would never tell someone that. But unfortunately, I'm not the type of person that would call the patient out online. I would never do that. Okay. So it's there. It's 10 years later. I don't own the practice anymore. It's now the old owner's dealing, so she has to worry about it. But what are you going to do? So if you do get a bad review, the first thing I don't want you to do, I want you to not to panic. It's not the end of the world. Your career is not going to be over. I remember a couple of months ago, a dentist reached out to me. She's a brand new dentist, just started practicing, and she got 2 bad reviews in one day, and it really demoralized her. And she thought she was going to lose her practice. And I said, I jumped on the call with her. I talked her down from the ledge, explained to her that this is not uncommon. It's basically take some happy patients, ask them the right reviews. The very next day, she had 5 positives, and she felt a whole lot better. So don't panic, calm down, take a deep breath, and hold it for 20 minutes, because you're probably not going to care after the 20 minutes about that bad review. Or as Dory says, just keep calm and just keep swimming. So a bad review may spoil your breakfast, but you shouldn't allow it to spoil your lunch. One of the biggest questions I get is, should you respond to a negative review or not? Now, I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. I have my own opinion about it, but there's not an answer that's right or wrong. Okay. I think it really depends on what the review says, just to be honest with you. But if you wanted to respond, there's nothing wrong with it. If you didn't want to respond, there's nothing wrong with that either. Now, if you do want to respond, you should always say, I'm sorry, whether you're sorry or not. And there are some instances that you will not be sorry for getting the bad review. Okay. One of them is if you have dismissed the patient, fired a patient. And if you fired a patient, it is the best feeling you can ever have. Okay. A lot of times those patients, after they're fired and kicked out of the office, will go online and write a bad review about you. So you're not sorry about that. So, but you should always say you're sorry. And the reason is because you have to remember who you're responding to. You're not responding to the person who wrote the review. You're responding to the people who are reading the reviews. That would be the only reason why you want to respond. Okay. Now, remember, in most cases, the person who wrote that 1-star review is not going to come back. And if they want to come back and you know who they are, one of my requirements was they have to remove that 5-star review or that 1-star review. They didn't have to make it 5 stars, but they had to remove that 1-star review or they couldn't come back in my practice. To me, a 1-star review is a lack of trust. And if they don't trust you, they shouldn't be your patients. So I made it very clear to those patients that they had to take that review down if they wanted to be seen. It only happened 3 times in 15 years. And 2 of them refused to take the review down and they were dismissed from the practice. One person did, and then we're still friends to this day. So just so you know, that's how I do. That's what I recommend. So always say you're sorry. You also have to be very concerned about HIPAA. So people always ask me, well, then is there someone enforcing HIPAA? And there is, just so you know. It's called the Office of Civil Rights. And here's an example of a report they came out with, which said that 2 people, this dentist, violated the PHI in a web page in response to a negative online review. This office did not respond to the Office of Civil Rights data request, did not respond or object to an administrative subpoena, and it waives its right to a hearing by not contesting the findings. The Office of Civil Rights imposed a $50,000 civil penalty, which is not good, obviously. So just keep that in mind. So this was the notice of proposed determination. It gave them all the possible fines that they can face. And this was the dentist, by the way. And this is all public information. I'm not sharing anything with you that is not public. But this was the review, and I want to point out what happened here. So you can see the person who wrote the review, his name was Corey Lipscomb, and he wrote about his experience there. And in the response, the doctor wrote back, it's so fascinating to see Mr. Jared Lipscomb, a.k.a. Corey. So he called him out and then described the whole experience. And he was asked to take down the review response, and he refused to. And that's why he was fined. So again, be safe. If you think you may be violating HIPAA, be careful. Technically, you're not supposed to be responding to reviews and acknowledging them as a patient. That's the letter of the law. And if you said to a happy patient, thank you so much for your feedback, we're so glad you enjoyed your experience, technically, you've actually violated their HIPAA. But the person is not going to report you because he wrote a positive review. Someone who wrote a negative review, you have to be careful with. So I would be very careful in responding to negative reviews, just so you know. This is the best response, one of the best responses I've seen to a negative review, and it actually made it into my book, Raving Patients. So it says, I want to apologize and thank you for sharing your recent experience at our practice. We take great pride in providing each patient with the best quality of personalized care. Unfortunately, on the day of your appointments, our servers went down, delaying our surgeries and appointments. We truly understand how valuable your time is and want to again apologize and thank you for your patience. We are actively working with our IT company to ensure unexpected disturbances to our servers do not happen again. Although our collective apologies will not change your experience, I hope you find comfort in knowing your feedback was taken seriously. Great response. They apologized. They said they were actively fixing the problem. They did not call the patient out. They didn't call him a name. They accepted it and apologized. And that's how you really want to respond to a negative review. Not like this guy here. So just so you know, this guy's name is Tommy Murph. He's a dentist in Conway, South Carolina. I love him. He has the cojones to post these reviews responses. Now, please note, he does not violate HIPAA. He's just very crash with these 1-star reviews. And I'll read them to you. So the one on the upper left, your review is hilarious. Why would any smart business work for free and hope to get paid later by the insurance company? And if not, then waste money sending out statements and hoping to get paid by you. That is not very smart way to do business, which begs the question, why would you want to go to a dentist or any business for that matter that is not very smart? We have a saying down south, bless your heart. You can look it up. Thank you for laughs. Free dentistry, laugh out loud. Lower right. Your review is a couple fries short of a Happy Meal. You were told the price prior to coming to the office. You didn't have to come. We are required to do an examination and x-ray of all patients, including you. If you had cancer in your jaw and we had not taken an x-ray, you would be posting that the office didn't take an x-ray and didn't give you the standard of care. All I can say is bless your heart. Lower left. Obviously, you were carjacked, forced into the office and strong-armed into paying for unnecessary dentistry. We will pray that you grow up here and learn to defend yourself in the future. Paying up front for one x-ray is terrible. People reading this review will be crying from laughter and saying a prayer that you don't go to hell for stupidity. And the last one on the upper right. Please, please, please. I beg everyone with Medicaid bad checks, no money. Please, please, please go to any other dentist. Thank you so much for giving that excellent advice to all your loser friends. Get a job and get off Medicaid. I hate paying your bills. Get 2 jobs and pay some taxes. Once that happens, you will hate losers on Medicaid giving stupid negative reviews as much as every other hardworking American. Now, please note that he never violates HIPAA. He's just over the top with his review responses. Now, here's a review that was received by a client of mine back again in 2013, older. And this is part of the reason why I don't like seeing people respond to the reviews, especially if the patient's crazy. So this review didn't actually say anything about the experience. They just had a bad experience. And he reached out to me, asked me for my advice. I said, don't respond. But he did, and there's nothing wrong with the response. They apologized. The response was not bad. But when you respond to a review, it allows the patient to potentially re-respond. And that's what that patient did. And that one-liner went to this, and this, and this. So it literally is causing more hurt to the practice than good by responding to some reviews. So keep that in the back of your mind if you're deciding whether to respond or not. This is the perfect response to a negative online review. So you can take a screenshot of this and use this as your response. We value all types of feedback in our office and would welcome the opportunity to discuss them with you. We are sorry you were disappointed in the service we have provided. Please contact the office and ask to personally speak with me so we can address some of your concerns that unfortunately I'm prevented from answering publicly due to HIPAA. That is the perfect response. So here are some things not to do, okay? So this should be not on the not to do list or just don't do it. Number one is definitely don't sue a patient. I've already pointed this out to you. You do not want to sue a patient for a negative review. The best defense is more positives. Do not sue a patient. It gets into the media and I get to talk about you. You do not want that. This was the review actually. It was actually a 3-star review. And to paraphrase, it basically says that he waited 2 hours and 15 minutes, saw the dentist for 30 minutes, was referred to the dentist for a possible root canal, and then was referred back to the dentist for a possible cavity. That's what the review stated. So do not sue patients. Forever and ever and ever on his Yelp page, he has this questionable legal threats forever, and that's never coming down. I call this a scarlet letter because everybody's going to see this. This is 2 dentists. They were partners in practice. They broke up in practice, and then they wrote bad reviews about each other and sued each other. Again, just not using common sense here. You do not want to do these things. As I mentioned earlier, you are not allowed to pay for reviews. Not allowed. Okay? You cannot incentivize the patients in any way, shape, or form. Credit on the account, no good. Gift card, no good. Even a raffle is seen as very suspect, so you have to be careful. I know a number of practices who reported that they were having a raffle by the competitor, and Google took all the reviews down sight unseen, and they lost all the reviews they generated. You want to do it the right way. Do not have a contest. In fact, we didn't really talk about Yelp, but Yelp asks their users to report businesses that aren't following the rules. So this is a user reported that Dr. Monica Pardo in Glendora, California, was offering free tickets to Disneyland, I'm assuming, in exchange for a 5-star review. This was Premier Dental Care that was offering a $30 credit towards their next visit. And look how petty it gets. Significant Orthodontist was offering 5-star reviews in exchange for a free whitening pen, which cost about $5. You cannot give anything of value for a positive review. And if you tell the patients that they can leave you something less and you give them something, then they have to divulge in the review that they were given an incentive to write the review. So not what I would recommend you do. Can you have a kiosk in the office to generate reviews? Absolutely not. You cannot have a tablet that goes online. It will have the same IP address. Also, on patients' phones, you prefer them not to do the review in the physical office space because too many of them will set off alarms because of location services on the phone. Just keep that in mind. And again, here, a number of reviews were posted for this business originated from the same IP address. You do not want to do that. So a perfect business isn't one with perfect reviews. It's one that deals with reviews and feedback perfectly. So in conclusion, and I have a couple of things that are non-C related, the key to attracting new patients to your practice is the visibility and credibility. You need both of them. Citation claiming is an important part of local SEO for visibility. You can attract quality new patients with a well-established online reputation. Spending on marketing while ignoring your reputation will lead to low return on investments. Having both visibility and credibility creates trust. And most importantly, you must have some sort of reputation marketing strategy for your practice. Whether you're going to send out messages at the end of the day, you're asking every patient to do it, you're using an automated service like Birdeye, you must be doing something to get a consistent flow of reviews, because otherwise you're going to be left behind and you're not going to be visible online. So as I mentioned, I have a couple of things here that are non-CE related. They're all QR code related. So if you want to take out your phones to scan some of these codes, you can. So I've created a resource guide with about 45 companies now. They're all marketing and business related for a practice. Everybody knows who Oprah Winfrey is. She has Oprah's favorites. These are Len's favorites. I've vetted these companies. I know that they will treat you right. They won't take advantage of you. They'll charge fair pricing. And they know that if they screw over the dentists that work with them and I find out, they're off my list and they get one strike on that. So these companies will treat you really well. I mentioned I have a podcast called Raving Patients, comes out Fridays at 5 a.m. We are almost done with season 6. So I've released over 300 episodes at this point. If you like podcasts, please give mine a chance. It's not about reviews. It's about growing your business. They're about 30 to 35 minutes long. If you listen to one, you'll probably enjoy and want to listen more. I also have a Facebook group called Raving Patients. So in this group, people post their negative reviews. They ask marketing questions. They ask for assistance on the marketing side of their business. You can join, just say you heard about the group through this webinar and you'll automatically be let in. There's no sales in this group at all. Nobody can come in here and try to sell you. I won't stand for it. I mentioned to you that I have a book that I can give you. This is my book called Raving Patients. You can get a free copy of the digital version if you want. At the end, you'll be able to fill out a survey from me. And if you fill out the survey, I will send you a free copy of the digital version of this book. Okay. If you scan this code, you can buy it on Amazon if you wanted to. This is my second book. This came out last year called 100 plus tips for getting 100 5-star reviews in just 100 days. This, I don't have a free version to give you. You'd have to purchase this on Amazon. And that's the code there. And but guys, it's $14.95. So you're not going to have any issues there paying for these books. They're not expensive. I have a newsletter that comes out on Fridays as well. It's called Reputation Matters. Again, no sales. It's all informational. It tells you where I am in the world. It talks about the podcast. So you can join the newsletter as well and be able to learn more about what I do and what I'm involved with. This is my QR code for my contact information. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. My cell phone number is on here. My email address is on there. But this is a digital business card that you can scan and be able to reach out to me for more information. This is wrong one. This is how you get a free book. So this is a QR code that you can scan and it will ask you to enter the code Raving, RAVING, and it will ask you to answer a couple of questions about the presentation, which I will be able to use to promote other webinars and seminars I give. So if you fill this out, it will ask you to enter your information. I will get the information and I'll be able to send you a book, and you'll get the book most likely tonight if I can do it. If not, tomorrow. That's how fast I'll send them out. So if you can take a moment, fill this out, this would be really appreciative to me, and it would help me Again, promote what I do, which I enjoy doing. Remember, your reputation matters.